Coming up on Ann Arbor Tonight, we have a great show for you. We have Matthew Altruda, the host of Treetown Sound on Ann Arbor's 107.1. We have Nick Zettell of the Students for Sensible Drug Policy. And we have Thunderbuck Ram and our comic guest, Tanner Oliver, everybody. Yeah, you know, I was at a steakhouse earlier this week with a couple of friends. You know, we were having a great night, having a meal and everything. You know, and then the waiter came over. He asked me if everything was okay. I said, yeah, we're just chewing the fat. But then, you know, he stormed off, so I guess I made him mad. Yeah. But, you know, in the same night, a friend of me asked me if I wanted a bite. I said, yeah, and he bit me. What? What's wrong with this guy? I guess Halloween came early. You know, yesterday I was walking in downtown Ann Arbor, and it was weird. I saw this girl, she was carrying a jar of mustard. Well, so I asked her, I said, well, what's going on? Why are you carrying that? And she turned around and she said, well, because you never know when you'll meet a ham, right? Yeah, the other day I was walking downtown, and I got hit in the head with a can of soda. Can you believe that, guys? It's so weird, a can of soda. Yeah, but it's okay, because the doctor said I was lucky it was a soft drink. Yeah, the holidays are around the corner, and you know what? Most shows are going to be taking time off. Well, except for the one in Washington. You know, Halloween's coming up, folks, and I've decided what I'm going to be for Halloween. Check this out. I'm going to be an almond. Yeah, that's right. Because, well, in this city, that's the only way you can be a health nut without exercise. Yeah. You know, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, but it takes longer to download, right? Come on. Yeah. No, we've got a great show for you this evening, so please stay tuned.
We want everyone in Ann Arbor to be safe. Which is why Ann Arbor has a law requiring drivers to be 5 feet while passing bicyclists, pedestrians, or wheelchairs traveling on the road. Most traffic lanes within the city are at least 10 feet wide, so give half a lane width of space for safety's sake. This is a good way to measure how much space is required. And if it isn't safe to pass, don't. Be cautious, be patient, and most of all, be safe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so excited to introduce our first feature interview guest for the evening. Please welcome Matthew Altruda, the host of Treetown Sound on Ann Arbor's 107.1 FM. Yeah.
I could clap for myself, right?
Why not?
If I can't clap
Why
for myself,
not?
no one can.
That's right. That's right. My goodness. Well, wonderful to have you, Matt. Thanks for being on Ann Arbor Tonight, Ann Arbor's late-night television show. This is fun.
I appreciate it. We've been talking about this for a while, and I'm really glad we worked this out. It's an honor to be here. I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much. Pleasure to have you as well. So let's sort of rewind the tape a little bit, if we will.
All right.
So Treetown Sound. We talked a little bit before the show, but you know, you were a music promoter.
Yep.
And sort of ended up getting involved with the roast of Martin Van Dyke, a wonderful radio broadcaster here in the city. Does a wonderful job. And then, what happened after that roast?
You know, the Humane Society had a benefit. Asked me. Well, they didn't ask me. They asked one of the bands I was working with to play the benefit, the Mac Pods, and I was like, "Can I please be one of the roasters, please, please, please?"
Yeah.
And they told me I could. It was interesting because the Humane Society roasts are like, people come in there and they're like, you know, they just try to be funny, but they don't really roast.
Gotcha.
I didn't really realize that, so I came in rather hard, if you will.
Sure.
And everyone really enjoyed it, and I got an email the next day asking me if I wanted my own radio show.
Oh my God.
Obviously, I said yes 7 years later.
There you go.
I'm really honored to be a part of it and have a radio show that promotes local music.
Oh, and you know, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, Treetown Sound, that's exactly what it does. And you had a great quote when you and I talked. You said, you know, Zach, I just want to be a good bridge. for arts and music in the community. And I think you do a great job of that.
Thank you.
Getting in, did you have any prior radio experience?
I did a little radio in college.
Okay.
It was very short-lived.
Okay.
I believed way too much in the First Amendment, and I still didn't appreciate that as much. So
Okay.
what didn't last as long as I would have hoped.
Sure.
But I had a little bit, but I mean, I have a lot of siblings. My whole life I've been talking. So.
Got it. Wow. And so talk to me now. 7 years in now.
Yep.
Is radio what you thought it would be?
I never really ever thought of myself as a radio host.
Sure.
As a radio DJ. I thought of myself as someone who loved music a lot and had a radio show. So I think it's everything I thought it would be because it is what I've put into it. It's my show. So
Yeah.
some of the shows I come afterwards, I'm like, that was just trash.
Oh.
And I can be hard on myself, right?
Sure.
Like sometimes I'm like, that was really good. Like
Yeah.
I like the way that went. So I think it's everything I wanted it to be. I can definitely see a lot of the artists I've worked with through the years, like they've made their rise and really have been very appreciative of my show, which helped me make my rise. So it's like, as you were saying, a bridge, it's like passion building passion and people helping each other out. And I've been really sincere with trying to help the Ann Arbor music scene, and I've gotten the same thing back for me. So it's been great.
Well, and you've done a great job. Hosting Sonic Lunch, which is the great music series in Ann Arbor. Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had an opportunity to check out Sonic Lunch, do that. But talk now. So you're 7 years in.
Okay.
What's the future like for you at Treetown Sound?
I'd like to do my radio show forever. It's live every Sunday at 6 p.m. and I've literally pre-taped it like 3 times in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Every single Sunday for like 7 years I've been in studio. It's a priority. I'm going out of town this weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. It's like I don't mess around with it.
Yeah.
I'd like to do it forever.
Sure.
I don't know how much, people have asked me, do you want to make it 2 hours, 3 hours? Do you want to make it longer? And I like it the way it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I don't really want to change it. I put a lot of thought into it.
Sure.
Much like you, it's like my wheels are always turning. Like, what's going on this week? What's happening?
Yep.
But I would like to continue just promoting local music in Michigan. And every day it seems like a new show because everyone's putting out new music. And it just fires me up.
Yeah. Well, in your mind, why is Ann Arbor a great musical city?
Ann Arbor's a great art city. We definitely see the value in supporting the arts here, whether it be physical art, music, dance, theater. We have the university with a very robust music school. We have incredible jazz programs in community high school. So Pioneer High School, all the local high schools, that we put so much energy into the arts here, and you can just watch that make its rise. And it makes people feel good.
Yeah.
Being a part of Sonic Lunch, and I really appreciate Bank of Ann Arbor for the opportunity, and Tim Marshall, it's like, I've done concerts at Sonic Lunch and years later been like, this is my husband. I met him at Sonic Lunch. This is our child. It's like, we're building great community events and people are meeting people they want to spend the rest of their lives with. So
Wow.
Yeah, there should be a lot of kids named Matthew in this city.
And I'm sure they're going to be.
No, there's not.
Oh, okay.
But maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, but too, you talk about, your, music promotion. How did you get into that early on?
The reality is, I went to 2 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, 2 high schools. My dad was always taking new jobs in corporate America. It was like, we're doing this, we're moving the family here.
Yeah.
And I was super appreciative, and luckily I had great siblings to move with. But I think at one point I was like, you know what? After seeing my dad having to lay off people he was friends with that had families, and see him come home from work and being upset, I was like, you know what? I don't want corporate America lifestyle for me. I want to work in a field that I believe in, that I'm passionate in. And there's a lot of days I'll work 10 hours. I don't feel like I worked at all.
Yeah.
And that was rooted in my life. You've never heard a billionaire's funeral, everyone talking about how rich they are.
Right.
They're talking about the great things they did. And I want more to my life to be able to spend time with my family and do things I believe in.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, and you do have a son too, and it's great that he can be able to enjoy this great city too, and be able to grow up here and sort of experience that. Can you talk about for somebody that's never visited Ann Arbor, in your mind, why should they come visit?
Wow, there's a million different reasons, but I would say number one, it has a little bit of everything for everyone, from art museums to natural history museums to great restaurants to the greatest football team in the world.
That's right.
It
Go
just,
Blue.
Go Blue. It just never ends. And I think people innately here just really care. It's rooted in, kids. It starts in your household. We have a lot of good parents here that are raising good kids that are trying hard.
Yep.
I pick up trash when I see it on the ground. I encourage other people to pick it up on the ground. I mean, like, it's those little things that separate good communities from great communities. And we're really intelligent.
Yep.
People love to read here, and they want to learn more, and they ask questions. And the nightlife is great too, and the Michigan Theater and Blind Pig.
Oh yeah.
And look, this could be a 5-hour radio show, Zach, of why you should come to Ann Arbor.
Oh yeah. There's just so much.
Yeah, and you see it in all these top 10 lists and everything else, and people coming here, and people have gone to college here or spent some time in here and moved far away, and they see on social media the great things going on in Ann Arbor, and they may be in New York City and they still miss Ann Arbor.
Wow.
Everyone who's ever spent a minute here of their life misses this place forever.
Yeah.
It's Neverland.
Yeah. Do you have one distinct memory of Ann Arbor that sticks out to you, like when you were young?
Well, all right. So, I mean, one very distinct memory when I was young. So I went to high school in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I was a junior in high school. My dad told us that he was taking a job with Borders and that we were moving to Ann Arbor.
Okay.
I didn't know much about Michigan, but I was a Michigan fan, honestly. I
Were
have
you
no idea
really?
why. Yeah, I
Okay.
grew up a Michigan fan.
Okay.
I think it was the winged helmet. It's
Sure.
Another story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went. He's like, I'm gonna show you Ann Arbor. Let's take family. We're gonna take you to Ann Arbor. We're gonna show you the city. It was Hash Bash.
Oh my goodness.
So like my first experience in high school, seeing the new city I was gonna move to on that Saturday. We went downtown at like 11 o'clock, and people were, I was like, what is this city I'm moving to?
Yeah.
And next to, where the Diag is in Ashley's?
Yep.
On the building up there was 2 men dancing totally naked with Michigan football helmets on.
Oh my God.
And I was sitting on the corner seeing everyone smoking weed and like partying, and I'm with my family and seeing 2 grown men dancing naked with football helmets, and I was like, I'm moving here.
Yeah, you're like, what have I got myself into? Why do I feel kind of funny?
So that was like a first weird memory. I mean, I have countless memories from having my family here and children and Michigan football games and everything else. Like the list goes on. Great concerts.
Yep.
Great losses.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things. But that particular memory, that was my introduction to Ann Arbor, and I stayed. So that's a good sign.
No, that's awesome. One thing that you would like viewers to know just about you or about Treetown Sound, and why they should listen, how they can find you.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of passion for local music, and I think Michigan is the greatest state in the history of music, from Motown
Oh,
to,
yeah.
I mean, it just never ends. People are like, oh, I love this band. It's like, oh, they're from Michigan. Oh, of course they're from Michigan. Oh, I love Wolfpack. Oh, they're from Ann Arbor. Like, it just keeps on going.
Yeah.
And I really like to be at the forefront of introducing that music. But I'm still going back to like Aretha Franklin Live 1972 in Philadelphia and playing those songs. So I really tip my hat to the old school and look forward to the new school. But I think the reason why people should listen is I'm extremely passionate about it. And when you find someone like you come together and real knows real, and the fans of my show are extremely supportive.
Oh,
nice. I
nice.
feel like I'm on Twitter during my show. It's awesome. I really it vindicates my passion. It makes me feel really good. And it's all live, so I have train wrecks and live bands in studio. It's not very well polished. It's the real old school live radio. They're in studio. I'm like, play now, and they're getting down, and that's how it's going.
It's raw, man, and it's
super
real.
raw.
Yeah.
Super raw and real. I get my facts wrong. I mispronounce things.
But you know what? Again, it's that passion, Matt.
Yeah.
And you have just a tremendous energy and a tremendous love for the city.
I do.
And I'm proud to have you here.
Thanks, brother.
We're all proud that you're here. And, for all of you, get a chance to check out Treetown Sound on Ann Arbor's 107.1. And, so they can listen to you online
Sundays,
as well.
Yeah, online. Sundays, 6 p.m., live on Ann Arbor's 107.1. You can find me in Liberty Plaza Thursdays during the summer for Sonic Lunch, at AFC and Arbor games. I'm all over the place.
Heck yeah, you're all over. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Matthew Altruda. Let's have you back.
I'd love that, brother.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Stop doesn't mean kind of stop, it means stop. All the way, period.
Look, cross, live. It's common sense. Use the crosswalks.
Stand out and stay alive. Day or night, wear something bright.
Don't walk means don't walk. Come on, you're smarter than that.
Bus, then stop. See a bus, see a sign, then stop.
Phone down, heads up. Dying to respond? Don't, it can wait.
A2, be safe.
A2, be safe.
A2, be safe.
Everywhere,
Everyone,
Every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. I am thrilled to introduce our other feature interview guest for the evening. Please welcome Nick Zettell and our writer, Quorum Sheik. Yes. Now, Nick, you are the field manager for the Students for Sensible Drug Policy.
correct.
Yeah, and so thank you for so much being on the show. Ann Arbor's late night television show, I think it's fitting to be able to speak to you and to the students of U of M about this topic. So, you know, you and I spoke a little bit before the show, and, you know, it was interesting because there's a lot of, you know, interesting feedback on both sides of this issue.
Sure.
In terms of making, you know, marijuana federally legal. And, you know, I wanted to know, first off from you, why is something like this important?
For me, first and foremost, ending prohibition of cannabis is what I consider to be the most important. I think it's a monumental step forward in fixing our criminal justice system and ending senseless arrests that occur. Last year, over 20,000 in Michigan for simple for marijuana arrests. Wow. The majority of those were for simple possession. It's been a long time coming to legalize it. Cannabis should never have been made illegal like it was. And it, for me, is incredibly important to just make these arrests go away and fix the harm that prohibition has caused. And auxiliary to that is the economic benefits and, you know, the industry that we can see emerge from that. But first and foremost, it's fixing our mass incarceration problem.
Right. You know, and you mentioned a, you know, whopping number that have been arrested here in Michigan. Now, I mean, in your mind, you feel this is possible?
Yeah, I think that legalizing cannabis state by state is an appropriate way to put pressure on the federal government and kind of tilt the hand in making cannabis legal and removing some of the barriers to research and some of the barriers to banking that we see in this country just because it's a Schedule I controlled substance. So when a controlled substance is Schedule I, it means that it has a high risk profile for addiction and no known medical uses, and those two things we know to be patently false about cannabis.
Sure.
And it's incredibly efficacious as a medicine. A lot of people, especially in Michigan, have found a lot of relief from it.
Right.
So.
Well, not to mention the city that we're in. I mean, Ann Arbor, it's you know, has quite a history with cannabis and sort of not only the activism part, but of course, you know, our local laws. I mean, we don't necessarily, we see a little bit differently, I would say, than a lot of the other cities surrounding us. And I wanted to talk with Quorum Sheik, our writer, folks. You may remember him. Great stand-up comic, but also was an Ann Arbor police officer before getting into comedy. So I wanted to know, Quorum, what's your reaction to this movement?
Well, it's funny. I think the police department reflects its community. And so in Ann Arbor, when I started, it was a $5 fine.
Right.
So it was clear from the community that they did not want this as a big priority. I remember midway through my career, there was a big debate about raising the cost and so on. Finally, they did. They raised it to $25.
Okay.
And so it's clear from that community, it's not a big priority item.
Right.
And we would just write a ticket for it.
Okay.
And like during the hash bash, it was well known. If you got arrested or in trouble at the hash bash, you really were messing up because mostly we were leaving the people alone and just trying to avoid violence. And any officer will tell you the violence we had was almost always alcohol fueled. Whether it was when the Fab Five was here, when they're drinking and fraternity parties. Marijuana, generally a pretty calm crowd. So from a police perspective, it's not really a big issue as far as crowds getting out of control.
Why do you think for other departments it is a big issue?
Again, I think it just depends on the community. In Ann Arbor, as you say, it goes back to the 60s with famous arrests. I think at one point John Lennon even came into town to raise funds and so on. So it has a huge history. Other communities are not as liberal, and they look at it differently, but it's changing. And so now you see all of Michigan, I think they're saying in the ballot, almost for sure it will win. And it's winning just about every time it's up for election. So the world's changing, America's changing, and I do think 50 years from now we'll look at this like we looked at Prohibition, and we'll see how, the mob was formed partly from Prohibition, and all the issues we had were because it was illegal.
Right. Well, and Nick, too, is interesting. You brought up not just, the fact that, a lot of the information that's put out there, with cannabis is inaccurate in terms of, it being addictive and things like that. But, you were also talking about the medical and also the financial impact that medical cannabis has. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say that I think you're absolutely right that Ann Arbor has a really rich history with cannabis. I've been very fortunate to have been involved with that. I've been one of the lead organizers of the Ann Arbor Hash Bash for the past 8 years or so. And we've worked really hard to make it a little bit more palatable for voters and people who may not be cannabis enthusiasts and people embedded in the culture. And one way we've been able to do that is point to other states and bring people from other states, bring athletes in, bring in physicians and professors. And this topic is becoming so much more acceptable to just talk about. And once we can do that, we can really explore what the benefits are, what the pros and cons are. So when you go to a state like Colorado or Washington, they're pulling in a lot of tax dollars. They've got a really interesting new industry. They're at the forefront of a new industry. I mean, it's really not a new industry. It's just been a commodified black market industry for so long. So if we can regulate that and make it legitimate and stop putting people in jail and giving them arrest records and find a way to reverse the harms that prosecuting people for victimless and nonviolent crime is really what we're seeing in other states, and they're really flourishing because of it.
I mean, no, you bring up a great point. I mean, if you look back in some history books too, I mean, they were using hemp, for example, for rope and different kinds of technological advances. So it's interesting now that there's still that viewpoint. But I wanted to also touch on too, that one of the things that you brought up to me that I thought was interesting is that, it's about the use of it and not the abuse. And I think so many people can maybe get a little bit misguided about, the things that are portrayed in terms of people abusing something versus actually using it responsibly. Now, I wanted to know from both of you, in your mind, using it responsibly versus abuse, I mean, is it something where, okay, if this becomes, legal, do you think that this will, you'll see a bunch of people using it more responsibly, or do you think, people are just going to go haywire with it?
Personally, I think the least responsible aspect of cannabis use is the fact that it's illegal. You have to break the law to use it. That can put your career in jeopardy, that can put your driver's license in jeopardy, that can put your freedom in jeopardy. I think there's a really easy, cannabis is distinguishable from a lot of other drugs in that it cannot kill you. They joke that the only way you can die from cannabis is if a bale of it falls on you. But there have been no overdose deaths ever reported for cannabis use. So it's not like alcohol or even aspirin for that matter, or a variety of other substances.
Right.
So I think there is a way to abuse it, just like there's a way to abuse cheeseburgers and biting your nails and things like that.
Sure. Well, or alcohol for that matter, right?
Sure,
I mean,
of course.
Living in a college town, let's face it, there's a lot of bars, there's a lot of alcohol being distributed, so that can be, abused as well. So, Coram, I'd want to know too, I mean, from a, former law enforcement position, in your mind, you said you do see this working in the long term. You do see this happening.
Yeah, or I would say that making it illegal is not working.
Right.
So it's more like that. It's like with prohibition, there's a lot of downside with alcohol.
Right.
But we saw what happened when you try to make it illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, legalizing marijuana is not a perfect solution.
Right.
Just like legalizing smoking cigarettes.
Right.
It's not a perfect solution. That is, it causes cancer. It's probably not good for you, but it should not be illegal. So the way I see it is, people can make their own informed decision.
Right.
And there is a difference between what's right and what's illegal.
Sure.
And I think it should not be illegal.
Right.
I personally have a lot of comedians. They all have their license, even though they appear very healthy to me.
Sure.
So I'd even thought, do I want to try marijuana? And I thought, no, I'm happy the way things are.
Right.
But I respect somebody making a different decision.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are potheads that are high all the time. I don't think that's good for them. But then there's alcoholics that have an issue with that. There's people that do eat too many cheeseburgers.
Right.
So I think it's not a perfect solution, but it is better. Now, I would think it should be kind of like with tobacco, where we don't have advertisement for it.
Sure.
I don't think it should necessarily be something you encourage people to do.
Okay.
But it's still not illegal.
Right. Right. No, and I think, that's a good perspective. For police officers that are watching, I mean, what do you have to say to them in terms of perspective?
Well, again, I think the police department reflects society.
Yeah.
Things are changing. I think even the police are much more open to this.
Yeah.
And we do want to put all our energy and resources toward violent crimes, other things such as that.
Right.
And actually, if you take the money out of marijuana in terms of the illicit sales and the cartels and so on, I think it can be a positive effect. That is, that profit margin is gone in those cartels. So I think most officers or most people educated can see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
We're just at that point of the transition.
Yep.
But I think it will occur.
Yeah. Question for you, because we talk a lot about this industry and how there's been a modernization of it. There's been different ways now to, grow the product and harvest it. So it's also safer, right? It's safer to go to a dispensary versus getting it off the black market.
Absolutely. The majority of the problems that we'll find with cannabis are because it's illicit, because it's illegal and commodified.
Right.
I mean, we will see the profit margin and the incentive disappear, really, for the black market. And the safest way to go about this is to regulate it, and that way we have a lot of control over advertising, and the state and the federal government eventually will have some amount of control and say over how things are packaged. And there's really what's important to me is accountability as well. I want to know what I'm getting, I want to know where it comes from, and I want to know that there is a LCC or a company behind this that can be held liable for it.
Right. Understandable. I think any consumer of any good would want that, or of any medication. So you also, can you talk a little bit about the, Students for Sensible Drug Policy, for those students watching, and what they do, why they're important?
Absolutely. So I got involved with Students for Sensible Drug Policy when I was a freshman at the University of Michigan here in Ann Arbor. It is an international network of students and young people dedicated to ending the war on drugs. So marijuana legalization is just one of many issues that they focus on. Among others are harm reduction, pragmatic harm reduction for opiates, and harm reduction for opiate users and other drugs, concert drugs. Other things that they might focus on are just encouraging research and really working to make sure that we can follow through on expunging records in states that have already legalized it, because there's no reason someone should have a criminal record for something that is no longer a crime. So Ann Arbor has a really rich history. We talked about its music earlier in the program, and it's got a really rich history of student activism as well. And students have been at the forefront of the anti-war movement and a variety of other issues, and drug policy reform is a really big one. So if you are a student, get involved with your chapter or start a chapter of Students for Sensible Drug Policy if this is something you care about.
Yeah, wonderful. And for those students that want to get involved or even see an event of a speaker to find out more, to talk to you in person, or to come to an event that you're sponsoring, how can they get in touch?
They can always get in touch with the actual organization and find out more about what we're about at ssdp.org. It's Students for Sensible Drug Policy, so ssdp.org. If you're interested in Michigan marijuana politics, MI Legalize is the preeminent grassroots organization dedicated to the current legalization efforts.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Nick, thank you very much. You know, it's definitely uphill, but you know, you're working at it, and you know, all the best. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Here at CTN, we offer a variety of different training workshops for our Ann Arbor residents as well as local nonprofits. Learn about different editing programs. Final Cut Pro, iMovie, and even Motion is available. Or how about studio production? You can even sign up for our Hotline Studio workshop, where you can direct and produce your own television show. Go online to a2go.org/CTN and head over to our workshops tab. There you can find a link to our convenient online sign-up sheet, as well as an in-depth description of what each workshop has to offer. CTN. Connect, create, communicate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you. All right, folks, thank you so much. I am so excited to introduce our feature comic for the evening. Please give a warm Ann Arbor Tonight welcome for the roast battle champion at the Motor City Comedy Festival, Tanner Oliver.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zach. Thank you to everybody here. Thank you, Makeup, for turning my brown skin into a rich mahogany. I feel like a mighty tree up here, a nice mighty tree. October's a scary time, you guys. You know, you got ghouls and zombies and stuff, but I'm not afraid of that. I'm afraid of putting away my summer wardrobe and then it not fitting next summer. That is that's scary to me. Ann Arbor is a very weird town. Like yesterday, I was walking down Main Street, and this lady said, "Excuse me, do you know where I can get braces for my dog?" Which is a weird question, you know. Which led me to like two questions that I had, you know, for her. One, did the dog tell you he wanted braces? Because that's a little disturbing. Like, did he come to you and he's just like, "Hey, that dog next door, she's pretty cute, man." And let's face it, Kevin, I'm a soft 3. So, and I see you got that blue care on the fridge. You know, I beg for food, and I see you got health care. So why don't you pinch some of that off to me, huh? You know, I don't know. It's very weird. Another weird thing. Did you news about that lady with the squirrel as an emotional support animal, and she took it on the plane? That is a subpar emotional support animal. That is, because I have an emotional support animal. She's a dog, and her name is Nala, and I imagine that, like, her voice is kind of like Penelope Cruz's. Like, you know, if I'm freaking out, she's like, "It's okay, Tanner, it's okay. I'm Penelope Cruz. It's okay. Just give me a hug," you know? But, like, I can't imagine a cat as an emotional support animal, you know? it'd probably have like Alan Rickman's voice or something. Like I'm freaking out. It's just like, why are you doing that? No behavior that any young man should ever present. Calm is your friend. Calmness is your friend. You know, we just get colder and colder. But a squirrel is an emotional support animal. Like just. You would ask it like, oh, what should I do? And be like, you just got to put stuff in your hands and chew it. You just got to put stuff in your hands and you just chew it. And it's just like, well, how am I going to calm down? There's no calming down. Calm squirrels die. That's it. That's how it works out. I have a very interesting day job. I work at a gun store. People ask me, oh, Tanner, is it the guns? You know, is it the customers? You like shooting guns? What's the fun part about it? I make 10% commission and I get to tell people no. It's It's great. It's like being a little governor. It's real nice. I think my favorite part about the gun store, like I said, is telling people no, but only if it's gonna save their life. Like I would never sell a fat man an ankle holster. I'll tell you that right now. That is, because like what's it gonna be like if he gets into a dangerous situation? Oh, did you hear how Daryl died? Yeah, he couldn't touch his ankles. That's a bad way to go out, man. It's a bad way to go out. But I do like selling the elderly weapons. The elderly, because that's where it's at. I don't give them pistols. I don't give them rifles. I give them shotguns because what's scarier than the sound of a shotgun? The sound of a shotgun, and then you hear a woman go, I can't see, but I'm going to try. Another scary thing I did last year. Does anybody like the band Earth, Wind, and Fire at all? Anybody? Yeah. I took my dad to an Earth, Wind, and Fire show, and he had a wonderful time. And then afterwards, he was like, well, son, I won 4 tickets to this venue next time. We should go and see a band you want to go see. So we did a 50-50 split, 2 Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets and 2 tickets to whatever band I wanted to go see. So I took my dad to his first death metal show, and we went to go see the Butthole Surfers. Yeah, as a band, check them out if you want to. Butthole Surfers, you guys. Butthole Surfers. Surf buttholes. It's a great show. But my dad had some problems with that. He's just like, I can't believe I gave up 2 Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets to go see Butthole Surfers. I don't want any part of that. So I pick him up from his office, and my dad is wearing this large yellow raincoat. Looked like Big Black Madeline. And so, I'm like, Dad, what are you wearing that raincoat for? He's like, I heard those Butthole Surfer fans spit on people, so I'm prepared, right? So we get to the front gate, and security's checking us out, and I see my dad, who's like 6'8", 250 in this large yellow raincoat on the warmest summer day of all time, and he's just like, what are you wearing that raincoat for, man? My dad's like, it's for me, and that's all you need to worry about. And that's the most gangster thing my dad's ever said in his entire life. So we get into the gates, and my dad sees this guy drop his wallet, and he goes up to him, and he gives him his wallet back. He's like, here you go, man. And the guy turns around, he's got gauges in both ears, and he's got enough piercings on his face, he looks like a chandelier. And my dad goes, holy shit! Which, I mean, anyone would do, but it made it even worse because the guy was like, hail Satan! And he just took his wallet and kept on going. At that point, my dad was terrified. He's like, I need a mouth guard, I need coffee, I need a Bible. I can't be here anymore, right? I'm like, let's just go to our seats. Let's just enjoy the show because we're already here. So we start walking towards the seats, and my dad sees a mosh pit forming. He's like, Dad, he's like, what's that? I'm like, Dad, it's a mosh pit. That's where fans of music go and punch, kick each other in the face. It's a fun time if you can handle it. And then he starts running towards the mosh pit. I'm like, what are you doing? He's just like, I want to go see these white boys hit each other. So here he is. He just gets in this mosh pit, and sure as shit, my dad gets knocked right on his butt, just right on his butt. And he's just like, Dad, he's like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm like, you hit him back. And he looked at me. He was just like, I can hit people in here? I hit people? I'm like, yeah, there's tons of people hitting each other. So he stares at his fist. He's just like, this is why we came here, Curtis. This is why we came here. Yeah, it was like Super Bowl Sunday up in there. It was great. It was amazing. He had the time of his life. And when we got back in the car, my dad was like, well, son, that was a lot more fun than I thought it'd be because, I was raised in Detroit in the 60s. You can't just hit white people willy-nilly like that. You need police barricades. The news has to show up. It's, this is a little much. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a curious person. I'm like, when's the last, like, who's the last white person you ever hit? And he was like, oh, Mitt Romney. I'm like, where have you been hiding this, of all places? Long story short, you guys, my dad went to Cranbrook in the 70s, and Mitt Romney was one of his classmates, and my dad just happens to be Mitt Romney's bully. So that's where I come from, you guys. That's where I come from. It's a fun time. But man, I really hope that they legalize pot soon. I really do. You ever been in a place where you didn't expect to get pot at all, but you got it? I was hosting. It was probably one of the first shows I ever did, and I had to open up for this band called the Super Saiyans, and it was these rappers that dress up like anime characters. So wasn't a draw. It was not a draw at all. They promised me $50 if I just wrote jokes about anime and showed up. So I did that. I showed up, and right when I got there, the lead singer was just like, none of our fans showed up, but you can still do, like, your anime jokes with people that are in the bar. And that is how I ended up telling 10 minutes worth of anime jokes to 70 black women on the east side of Detroit. I will say this. I love anime, and I love black women, but they do not mix. It is like peanut butter and licorice. It is just two great things, but together, terrible. How do you know you're failing in front of black women? I will give you one hint. 5 minutes into your 10-minute set, one of them will stand up and say, "Oh, it's okay, baby. You don't have to do this anymore." Where are you from? Let's, why don't you tell some jokes about something we might like grandchildren, or jams, or Matlock. And I'm like, well, this is gonna be awful. This is terrible. But I finished up my set, and the best part about that was that the host came back on stage, and she was like, "All right, y'all, give it up for Tanner. That baby tried, didn't he? Oh, he tried so hard." And for that, I got $50, and she gave me a gram, and I had no idea that grandmas carried weed on them. But hey, that's just what happened. I had no idea. But that's it for me, you guys. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Man, Tanner Oliver, everybody. All right. Hey, Tanner. Man, great set, very funny. Thank you for joining us on Ann Arbor Tonight,
Thanks,
man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So, Tanner, so you're going to be moving to Chicago soon.
Yeah, in about a year.
Oh, my gosh.
Still have to decide who I want to live with.
Yeah.
And,
that's always tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I would much rather live by myself, but it's better to live in like with other comics.
Yeah.
But I want like a happy medium where it's like I want to live with clean people, which is almost impossible, with comics. But then I also don't want to live with too many people because I've seen that and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, no, man. So tell me, so you're from Michigan. I mean, so you're in Ann Arbor, but I mean, and you've performed a lot at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. I've seen you, done a great job. But are you from Ann Arbor?
No, I'm originally from Bloomfield.
Okay.
It's that place where all the houses look like Call of Duty maps. So,
oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah, just out there. My dad used to, who's the guy that owns Little Caesars?
Illich.
Illich, yeah. Used to live down the street from him. I had no idea who he was, like, at all, until he let me skip the line at Costco, and then he bought my Arizona iced tea, and I just thought he was a nice guy. And then I saw him on the news the next day. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
there we go.
I should probably watch more hockey.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Did he give you free pizza?
No, not at all. No, you can't just give it. You don't live in a house like that by giving away free stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe free hockey camps.
Hockey camp, yeah. Yeah, I mean, hockey's a tough sport. You know, you guys skate and everything.
I'm so uncoordinated.
Yeah. That's okay. But so comedy. Why comedy for you?
Comedy for me, I just in high school, I used to do like funny little like sketch videos and stuff. And then I did fantasy football one year, and then they were like, you know, if you lose, which I did, you gotta like do stand up.
Oh wow.
And then I ended up doing like 3 minutes, and I enjoyed it, and you know, I just kept on doing it. And then I think once you start a room, that's it. Like it's got you, and you have to like continue from there. And I've been doing it for so long, and I've met really good people doing it, and
that's awesome.
It's never not fun.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's awesome. How long have you been doing comedy?
Around 5 or 6 years now.
That's awesome, man. Wow.
Actually 6 years, yeah.
And so you've worked Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase a lot. Why do you like that club?
I like that club because, I mean, it's my local club. It's not the first club that like gave me work. The first club that gave me work was Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, also another great club.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very close to my house. I can walk to it from like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's more of like a crowd that's my age, like university type kids, as opposed to Ridley's where it's like people that have mortgages and kids, and they're like, we want jokes about that. I'm like, well, I'm not there yet, but I'll try. You know?
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
No, for sure, man. Well, and like I said, you do a great job on stage. Really hold your own, and it's awesome, man. It's just awesome to see you doing well. For people that want to see you, want to come see you at the showcase, or want to come see you around Michigan before you leave us for Chicago, how can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Tanner Oliver. You can find me on Twitter at PKA Tanner.
Okay.
I'm going to be opening up for Jack Knight November 4th at Detroit Shipping Company.
Nice.
Jack Knight, he's from the Netflix show Big Mouth.
Oh, cool.
And then Zach Fox from Red Bull Radio is going to be there too.
Nice.
I like both those guys. Zach Knight just had like a Netflix 15.
Wow.
So I get to open up for him this Saturday, and I'm probably going to start back up like February. I host a comedy show out of my basement called 514 Miller.
Oh, cool.
So that's like me and 8 comics that I know, just putting on a good basement show.
Nice.
And then I'm going to be at the Whiskey Parlor in Detroit November 30th.
Okay.
And that'll be fun. Yeah.
Cool, man. No, awesome. Great stuff. Glad you're working. Glad you're, doing the craft, doing a great job. And thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. Definitely wish you all the best. I know you're going to go far. Just keep at it. And, well, let's have you back.
Definitely, man. Thank
all
you
right,
so
brother.
much.
Thanks so much. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Peanut, guess what? What? Alicia is on Camp TV. Let's watch it. I don't really feel like it. Why? Because I want to watch the interview with the mayor of Ann Arbor. Well, guess what? What? Alicia's interviewing the mayor. Oh, really? That's awesome. Okay, I'll watch it. Yay!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Folks, I am pleased to introduce our musical guest for the evening. Please put your hands together and give a warm Ann Arbor Tonight welcome for Thunderbuck Ram, everybody.
Take this message to my brother. He is living undercover. Tell him like no other. Every time I see your face, it just transcends time and space. Take my time just like my fun. Looks like I'm the only one. Take this message to my brother. only one. Take this message to my brother. He is living undercover. Every time I see your face, it just transcends time and space. Take my time just like my phone. Looks like you're the only one. Take this message to my brother. Take this message to my brother. Take this message to my brother. Spawn on the wayside, looking all over the place. None coming down, but the egg all over my face. Gone tell 'em all, but I guess it was yesterday. Gone tell 'em all, but I guess I had nothing to say. Please, my mama was what I really wanted to do. Now I spend my time just sitting here trying to please you. Stand here waiting for my moment to come. Stand here waiting with a knife fight holding a gun. Come on, come on, come on. your game. Looks like the truth done outed you. Smiling could never cover up your pain. I remember one summer I was thinking, why the hell am I sleeping outside? I know you got no answers to my questions, even though you're looking right in my eyes. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground. Always worried about what other people thinking. Wanting faces like it's part of your style. Talking crazy when I don't want to. Does it take it for a country mile? I was looking for a friend to talk to, not a mother or a spectrum child. But you turn this mountain to a molehill. Give me a shovel, girl, let me dig a while. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground. No matter how high you get, you're never gonna leave the ground.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ann Arbor Tonight. Yes, thank you so much. All right, folks, Thunderbuck Ram here. We have Frankie and Elizabeth. My goodness, what a set. Wonderful stuff.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that was
appreciate
amazing. Man, so first of all, where did Thunderbuck Ram come from?
Well, actually, our original guitar player came up with the name, and it's from Mata Hoople. It's a Mata Hoople song.
Okay.
And he was a big fan. I'm a big fan, and he just thought that would be a great name for a band.
Yeah.
And he actually, it was a funny story, he went to the Ann Arbor, the Current have the best of, and
Sure.
he's like, you know, he's put Thunderbuck Ram, he entered that name, but there was no band.
Oh,
so
wow.
when him and I got together, it was like, we need to be Thunderbuck Ram because we already won best band name.
There we go.
So, and I just stuck with it.
There you go.
You know.
No, it's a great name, catchy, you know, unique, definitely. So I wanted to know for you, Frankie, I mean, was music a lifelong passion for you? Why music?
Well, I grew up in a musical family. My mother was a gospel singer, and my dad was a jazz, you know, aficionado. And but most of it came in high school. I had a lot of friends who were really into music, and they got me into, because I was more into sports and things like that. But I had one friend, John Dragonetti, who got me into music. And
cool.
got my first guitar, so the rest is history.
Oh, no, man. You do a great job, and I mean, great rhythm. Love the sound, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and Elizabeth, I mean, my goodness, over there in your wonderful cowboy boots. I like it. So for you, I mean, why do you like playing with this gentleman?
Well,
She doesn't know.
There's
Frankie.
so many reasons.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a really long time, and Frankie's been a big influence on me musically. I'd never listened to Prince, if you can believe
wow.
that.
Okay, yeah.
Before we met.
Yep.
That's right. He has a large collection of cowboy boots. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I don't.
And
Wow.
hats.
Okay.
So that's one of the. We're not the same size, so that doesn't work out. But it's after being friends for a long time, he asked me to do some vocals with the band, and that was, and it's worked out great. And
Yeah.
we worked together creatively really well, which is something that you never know. So
Yeah.
it
That's
hasn't
awesome.
ruined our friendship working together.
Oh, no,
as
that's
it does
awesome.
so often.
Oh, geez.
But it's been awesome for me to. I don't play keyboards that much, so for me to get out of my comfort zone.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
really
mean,
fun.
It's always nice, right, when you can collaborate and be able to, develop a creative relationship. Why music for you, Elizabeth?
I don't know why. It's all I've ever wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, and still, I'd say that I have music brain. I can memorize a song and the lyrics and the melody after hearing it a couple times.
Sure.
I definitely have some songs in my head that I wish I didn't, like Baby Got Back. I know all those lyrics. If you're interested, maybe next time. But in school, I could never memorize, mathematical, whatever. I don't even know what it's called. So I have a music brain, and I just love it, and it feels good to express it and share it with other people.
No, that's awesome. And you guys have played a lot around the city. What's your favorite venue to perform at in Ann Arbor?
Well, it's the Blind Pig is one of the biggest
Yeah.
venues, and,
Yeah.
and we're trying to get into more festivals and do more, maybe art fair, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And do more, because we're getting older and our friends have kids, so we want them to come out. So festivals is the way to go.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot here during the summer.
Yeah,
So
so.
definitely. No, it's awesome. Really quick, Thunderbuck Ram, how can people see you, and how can they know about your music?
Well, you can go, we're going to release an EP soon, and you can go out, check us out on Facebook.
Okay.
And the thing about the name, it's easy to find. If you go on Facebook, just type in Thunderbuck Ram, and we kind of have a unique logo. It kind of looks like a Ford logo.
Okay.
And we have music up there.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way.
Awesome.
It's on Facebook.
All right, sounds good. Well, check out Thunderbuck Ram on Facebook and get a chance to see them. They are definitely a riot. Thunderbuck Ram, thank you so much, folks. That is our show. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the crew at the Community Television Network. I want to thank all of our wonderful guests. Thunderbuck Ram, I'd like to thank our comic, Tanner Oliver. I'd like to thank Nick Zettell. I'd like to thank Matthew Altruda and Quorum Chic. That is our show. This is Ann Arbor Tonight. Thank you so much. Chili Chalice, we love you.